right, today we're going to talk about the roles of 0 and 1. They are very, very powerful numbers. Now, 0 has a whole property associated with it. It's one of our vocabulary words for the week. Last week we had a different one, and we're going to go back to that vocabulary. And today we're talking about the additive, maybe this is an A, inverse, and that takes opposites into consideration, and specifically the opposite that makes 0 so powerful. So this whole assignment called 0, so what plus 0 is A? What plus 0 becomes A? A. So what is this answer? 67. So when you add something, when you add 0 to something, you wind up with the same number. You get A equals 67. Now, if you had that same 67, and you wanted to add something to it and wind up with an answer that was 0, what would you have to add? Negative 67, or its opposite. That opposite is actually called its additive. No, that isn't I. Additive inverse. Every number, whether it's rational or irrational, has an additive inverse. So a number and its opposite can be added together and get to this magical number known as 0. Now remember, 0 is neither prime nor is it composite. It's so special, it has its own being. Okay? So like this one, I minus negative 45. What are we going to do when we have subtraction? Remember, we got rid of subtraction by adding the opposite. So now we're in this situation. What are we going to do to land at 0? I is going to have to be negative 45. It's positive 45's additive inverse is negative 45 to land us at 0. Now don't panic when you see something like this. What is 0 halves? How much pizza do you have when you have 0 halves of pizza? 0. You have 0. So negative 15 times h minus 0. So what is this really? Negative 15 times h, right? So what would this be? Negative 15 times something called h, because we're not going to subtract anything from it, are we? Because it's 0. In that situation, it's nothing and it doesn't have a whole lot of power, does it? Okay, do you know what that's going to be? How many 15s in 60? 4. Now is this 4 going to be positive or negative to make it a positive 60? So it has to be negative 60. Negative 4 to make it a, because a negative, the opposite of a negative has to be a positive. Questions? See how powerful 0 can be? Absolutely.